Hello and welcome to the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened in India and around the world. I'm Ishan Russell and tonight we focus on the hostage crisis in Australia that finally ended after 17 hours. Details on that and its implications a little later. First, the headlines we're tracking right now. Sydney hostage crisis finally ends after 17 hours. At least 2 hostages injured after security forces stormed the cafe. No information on the status of the hostage taker. Home Minister Rajnath Singh gives statement in the Lok Sabha over Islamic State suspects' arrest in Bengaluru. Says Mehdi Masroor was trying to recruit youth. Religious conversion row continues to hamper proceedings in Parliament. Rajya Sabha witnesses repeated adjournments over opposition demands on Prime Minister's statement. Centre clarifies row over cancelling school holidays on Christmas after opposition claims of government circular to celebrate Good Governance Day on the 25th of December. And inflation figures fall to over 5-year low to zero level. Petrol and diesel prices slashed by 2 rupees each from midnight. Our top story tonight, the hostage crisis in Sydney finally came to an end after close to 17 hours. At least 2 hostages were injured after security forces stormed the Lind Cafe in downtown Sydney. Gunfire was heard as 14 hostages were rescued in the operation. There's still no clarity on whether the hostage taker was killed. Earlier, an Indian was among several people taken hostage by the gunman identified as a refugee from Iran. The gunman was seen on the window of the cafe holding a placard with some pieces written in Arabic. He's facing several criminal charges against him. During negotiation with the cops, he had reportedly made specific demands, including speaking to Prime Minister Tony Abbott.
No, just the first 2.
News back home now. Home Minister Rajnath Singh today gave a statement in the Lok Sabha on the arrest of Mehdi Masroor Biswas. Biswas is believed to be the man behind a Twitter handle related to the terror group Islamic State. Now, the Home Minister said that the probe so far has revealed that Biswas tweeted material promoting the organization's cause.
Mehdi Biswas, the man arrested from Bengaluru, was trying to recruit youth for the Islamic State. Home Minister Rajnath Singh informed the House that this information has come forth in the investigation so far. The Home Minister also said that Biswas used to translate Arabic literature of the IS into English and post them on his Twitter handle.
मेहदी विश्वास से की गई पूछताछ से यह पता चला है कि उसकी गतिविधियां आईएसआईएस समर्थक सामग्री को अपने ट्विटर अकाउंट और सोशल मीडिया साइटों पर पोस्ट तथा रीपोस्ट करने तक सीमित थीं.
The Home Minister also informed the House that most of Mehdi's followers are from Western countries and several are non-Muslims. The news of Mehdi's Twitter account also first came in the English media.
पूछताछ के दौरान मेहदी ने यह खुलासा किया कि उसके ट्विटर अकाउंट को देखने वाले 60% से अधिक लोग पश्चिमी देशों के गैर मुस्लिम लोग थे और उसके अधिकांश मुस्लिम फॉलोअर्स पश्चिमी देशों विशेष रूप से यूनाइटेड किंगडम के थे.
Mehdi Biswas belongs to a middle-class family and was employed with ITC at the time of his arrest. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
News from Rajya Sabha now, where uproarious scenes were witnessed over the religious conversion row. The opposition insisted on the Prime Minister's statement over the matter. The government conceded that it was ready for a discussion but slammed the opposition for stalling the proceedings of the House. The stalemate forced repeated adjournments, putting the future of the centre's big-ticket reforms in a limbo.
Calling attention.
Cutting across party lines, the opposition members pressed for Prime Minister's assurance to stop forced religious conversions in the country. The opposition emphasized that conversion camps smear the secular fabric and cautioned the government of turmoil in the country if such incidents went unbridled.
अगर प्रधानमंत्री कार्रवाई करेंगे, प्रधानमंत्री उसका प्रभाव रहेगा.
The situation in the country is leading to a civil war.
For a meaningful discussion, which the opposition wants a discussion. We want the Prime Minister here.
The opposition benches also raised objections on the controversial remarks made by an MP of the ruling party on Ayodhya issue.
आप चर्चा शुरू करिए. आप चर्चा शुरू करिए. जो भी चर्चा करना चाहते हैं आप.
दो माननीय दूसरे हाउस के सदस्य जाकर इस तरीके के भाषण दिए धर्म परिवर्तन के बारे में.
जो एमपी है सदन के,
जो इलेक्टेड है उस पार्लियामेंट में, वो तो आपके हाथ में है। पार्टी के अनुशासन में रखना लोगों को, ये तो आपके हाथ में है।
Leader of the House Arun Jaitley blamed the opposition for paralyzing the proceedings of the House and expressed government's willingness to discuss the issue.
Is the opposition willing for a total ban on religious conversions or a ban on forcible religious conversions? Let them tell us the option. For either of the two options, the government is ready.
The standoff between the opposition and the Treasury benches resulted in 3 adjournments in the pre-lunch session. Even in the post-lunch session, there were little signs of reconciliation as the House witnessed 2 adjournments and finally got adjourned till the next day.
He is not in Delhi, how can he come? When Prime Minister is not in Delhi, how can he come? I am going to adjourn the House.
Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
House is adjourned to meet on Tuesday 16th at 11 a.m.
Now, the Trinamool Congress held protests in Parliament today against the arrest of West Bengal Transport Minister Madan Mitra in the Sarda scam case. The party lashed out at the centre in the Rajya Sabha today, accusing it of misusing the Central Bureau of Investigation in the matter. However, the centre refuted the allegation and asserted that the CBI was acting independently.
Trinamool Congress MPs raised their voice in the upper house against alleged misuse of CBI in the Sarda chit fund scam case. Derek O'Brien alleged that the centre was using the top investigating agency for political vendetta.
The president of the BJP is writing the script for the CBI.
I would like There's no point raising it. He's not in the House.
House of Leader did not mention that the CBI is reporting to PMO, and in February this year, a complaint has been made with the CBI in regard to one Delhi-based company.
Leader of the Rajya Sabha Arun Jaitley quickly refuted charges made by the Trinamool Congress members. He said that the Sarda chit fund probe was monitored by the Supreme Court.
There is no question of government or any political leader being involved in what the CBI is doing. The case he is referring to is a case which is being monitored by the Supreme Court of India, and the CBI in this case acts independently and reports the matter only to the Supreme Court of India. The government has nothing to do with this matter.
Trinamool Congress upped the ante against the government after West Bengal Transport Minister Madan Mitra was arrested by the CBI on Friday. The CBI had earlier arrested 2 TMC Rajya Sabha MPs, Srinjoy Bose and Kunal Ghosh, in connection with the scam. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the row over the cancellation of Christmas holidays in Navodaya institutions was heard in the Lok Sabha today. The issue was first raised by Congress members. They were joined by left parties and AIADMK MPs. The government has decided to celebrate 25th December as Good Governance Day. The date also marks the birthday of BJP veteran and former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. But the government has now clarified that the Christmas holiday has not been cancelled.
The day in which they have celebrated the birthday of Jesus Christ all over the
0 hour in Lok Sabha was marked by Congress MP KC Venugopal raising the issue of cancellation of the holiday on 25th December or Christmas in Navodaya schools. He said that it was the most important holiday for the Christian community, but the government wanted to observe it as Good Governance Day. He alleged that the government was hurting the sentiments of the minority community by asking schools to remain open on Christmas.
asking them to present on that auspicious day in schools for participating programs like essay competition. You are really hurting the sentiments of the minorities.
The matter saw heightened emotions with several members coming into the well of the House. Speaker Sumitra Mahajan was forced to adjourn the House for lunch break.
To meet again at 2:30 p.m.
In the post-lunch session, MPs of the Congress and the left parties raised the issue again. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu clarified that no such circular had been sent out.
CBSE, Navodaya, Kendriya Vidyalaya, there is no circular to say that you must run the schools on the day of Christmas, Holy Christmas on 25th. There is no such instruction, number one.
25th December is also the birthday of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The government wants to celebrate it as Good Governance Day. A circular stating this was sent out to all Navodaya schools. The circular also asks the schools to submit a report on the celebrations to the Commissioner. HRD Minister Smriti Irani also gave a clarification on the issue.
25th of December is Christmas and will be celebrated as such in our schools, and the schools will be shut on that day, will not operate. It is a holiday. and the essay competition is online.
The lower house functioned normally only after the government's clarifications. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, more than 2,25,000 posts are currently lying vacant in the railways. Most of these are in safety-related posts of loco running staff, driver, station master, guard, signal inspector and maintenance staff. Several issues regarding safety in railways were raised during question hour in Lok Sabha today. Replying to the debate, Minister of State for Railways Manoj Sinha said that a stringent system is being developed to accelerate the recruitment drive and fill up vacant posts. Sinha also informed the House that by replacing old systems and adopting new technology, Railways is taking all possible steps to prevent accidents and enhance safety.
The coming month also we have witnessed a tragic railway incident that is going on. Madam, the member electrical is absent in the Indian Railway, madam, and GM and DRM posts were vacant. So government is only recruited some casual laborers and empaneled laborers, not ready to recruit the important key post in the railway.
पिछले नवंबर में 62,000 पदों की लिखित परीक्षा रेलवे ने कराई है और 81,000 पदों के लिए हमने विज्ञापन दिया हुआ है। तो प्रतिवर्ष का चार्ट हमने दिया हुआ है, तो मैं समझता हूं कि इस दिशा में ये ऑनगोइंग प्रोसेस है और वो चलता रहता है। कुछ वरिष्ठ पदाधिकारियों की बात उन्होंने उठाई है, जैसे मेंबर इलेक्ट्रिकल की बात कही है, कुछ जनरल मैनेजर के पद भी खाली हैं, सरकार उस प्रक्रिया में लगी हुई है।
Some election news now, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi campaigned in Jharkhand today. He focused on the plight of tribals, saying a single-party majority government was the only way out from the corruption and the mayhem that the state has borne since its formation.
The last leg of campaigning, Prime Minister Modi was in Dumka and Barhait on Monday, and his focus was the tribal vote, a key constituency in the segment going to vote in this phase. In the lack of development and jobs that Adivasis bear the brunt of, Modi found a strong weapon of attack.
कांग्रेस के लोगों को आपकी याद नहीं आई। यहां के आपके कई नेता हमेशा कांग्रेस के पिछलग्गू बनकर के ही अपनी राजनीति करते रहे हैं। कांग्रेस सरकारों में मंत्री बन चुके हैं, लेकिन उनको कभी आदिवासियों की याद नहीं आई थी।
Once again, the Prime Minister hit out at the Congress, saying it has done little more than hold strategy sessions to attack the BJP, to spread lies and mislead the voter. And Jharkhand's voter had been taken in by them. Modi said successive coalition governments over the last 14 years since Jharkhand's formation have bled the state dry, leaving huge potential unrealized.
आदिवासियों को विश्वास हो गया है कि 40-50 साल तक राजनेताओं ने आदिवासियों को वोट बैंक माना। चुनाव आते समय वोट खरीदने के कारोबार किए, कुछ वोट के ठेकेदारों को अपने कब्जे में ले लिया, बूथ कैप्चर कर लिए, लोकतंत्र को दबोच दिया और अपना कारोबार चलाया, लेकिन जनता का भला नहीं किया।
Jharkhand has recorded over 60% voter turnout in all the 4 phases of polls so far. Turnout recorded in these elections has been unprecedented in the short history of Jharkhand as a separate state. Modi termed this a symptom of a desire for change, one the people needed to carry into this phase too.
4 चरण के मतदान में साफ कर दिया है कि बहुत सालों के बाद झारखंड में पूर्ण बहुमत वाली सरकार बनाने के संकेत दे दिए हैं आपको। अब 5वें चरण का काम क्या है? 5वें चरण का काम है 2/3 बहुमत से भाजपा की सरकार बनाना।
Dumka is the home constituency of sitting Chief Minister Hemant Soren. Lois Marandi is the BJP candidate here. This segment goes to polls on the 20th of December in the final phase. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, time for a quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, Abenomics does it again. Shinzo Abe wins his third straight term in Japan. Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, good news on the economic front. Declining prices of vegetables and fuel has pulled down inflation to zero level in November. This is the lowest figure in about 5.5 years. The wholesale price index-based inflation was at 1.77% in October and 7.52% in November 2013. The figures exert pressure on the RBI to cut rates to boost growth. The Reserve Bank has maintained a status quo in interest rates since January. The RBI factors in retail inflation while formulating its monetary policy. In his policy earlier this month, RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan had hinted at a rate cut early next year if inflation continued to decline and government took steps to contain fiscal deficit.
The inputs that go into inflation right now are very benign and in fact are moderating significantly. Whether you look at commodities such as oil and iron ore, whether you look at global economic activity or alternatively you look at slack capacity across the system. For all of these reasons, we are in the grip of deflationary forces globally, and certainly that is going to have a significant impact in India as well.
And there's more relief for you on the economic front because the prices of petrol and diesel have been slashed by 2 rupees today. Yes, the new prices will be effective from midnight tonight. This is the 7th cut in petrol prices since August this year. Fuel prices were last revised on 15th November. The downward reduction in fuel prices comes on the back of falling international crude oil prices. The price cut was widely expected in India after Brent crude hit a fresh 5-year low close to $60 a barrel on Monday. The rupee, which plays an important role in the prices of imported fuels, ended lower at 62.94 per dollar on Monday. And the cold weather has intensified across North India. Temperatures dropped to close to 0 degrees in several places. Himachal Pradesh was reeling under the cold wave, with Manali recording a low of -2 degrees Celsius. Shimla experienced its coldest night at 0.9 degrees Celsius. Several other parts in higher hills and tribal areas were cut off from the rest of the state due to heavy snowfall, even as the lower areas were lashed by heavy rains. Traffic was disrupted for the second day. The Hindustan-Tibet National Highway was closed beyond Shimla. Traffic was also suspended on the Manali-Kiratpur National Highway beyond Bhuntar. The sky remained overcast as icy winds swept through the national capital. With more snowfall predicted in higher altitudes, states like Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, UP and Rajasthan could also receive more rainfall.
आज बहुत हैवी बर्फ हुई जो इससे पानी पाइपें जाम हो गई है, पानी आज आया नहीं है और फिसलन बहुत हो गई है, यानी कि कहीं हर मोड़ पे कोई गिर रहा है, चोट लग रही है, यही डर रहता है, बच्चों के साथ आने में दिक्कतें रह रही है।
2 दिन से बरसात हो रही है और हमारा गरीबों का जो ये अग्नि है इससे बच रही है। यहाँ पर जो आग बढ़ाते हैं, ये अग्नि लकड़ी बढ़ा के और बच्चे इनको बैठा लेते हैं।
Now for all the other news and updates in Nationwide. A Delhi court will pronounce punishment to 4 convicts in the Lalit Narayan Mishra murder case on the 18th of December. The order came after the court heard the arguments of quantum of sentence. CBI left to its discretion whether the convicts deserve death penalty. The 4 were convicted nearly 40 years after the former Railways Minister Ellen Mishra was killed in a blast in Bihar on the 2nd of January 1975. The Supreme Court today allowed new CBI Director Anil Kumar Sinha to take charge of the investigation and prosecution in the 2G scam cases. Earlier, the court had removed the former CBI Director Ranjit Sinha from the probe following allegations of trying to protect some accused. In an unprecedented order, the top court had handed over the case to the senior-most officer after Ranjit Sinha was asked to step aside. Telugu Desam Party MLA M. Venkatramana passed away at a private hospital in Chennai today. He is survived by his wife and 2 daughters. The 67-year-old two-time MLA representing Tirupati was under treatment at the hospital for the past 8 days for a kidney ailment. He underwent a cardiac bypass surgery yesterday. 2 people were killed and 5 injured in a bomb explosion in Imphal today. The incident took place near the Mahatma Gandhi Avenue in the city. The injured have been admitted to the hospital. Some of them are said to be in a critical condition. Well, some international news now, and Japan's ruling coalition has won the two-thirds majority in the snap polls held on Sunday. The vote, seen as a midway referendum on Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's economic policies, seems to have paid off well for him. The win gives Abe 4 more years in power to implement his older policies and bring in new ones.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's coalition cruised to a landslide victory in the snap parliamentary polls. The coalition secured an overwhelming mandate, winning 326 seats of the 475-member lower house, well above the required two-thirds majority.
アベノミクスはまだ道半ばではありますが、しかし、2年前、3年前のですね、暗く低迷した時代、経済状況を一変することができたという印象を持っていただいたと思いますが、まだ実感できないという方がたくさんいらっしゃるということを我々もよく承知をしておりました。
But a closer look at the results reveals the fragility of Abe's mandate. Voters still doubtful of Abe's strategy stayed away from polling. The turnout was an estimated record low of 53.3%, but the Prime Minister remained unfazed.
心配ですね。もう、自民党がやろうとしていることがほぼ決まるわけじゃないですか。それがかなり時代にみんな言い尽くされてますけど、逆行するようなことになりかねないなと思って、
今後投票率を上げていくために、政治への信頼と同時に、国民の皆様の一票が日本を作っていくということをしっかりと国民の皆様に訴え続けなければならないと、このように考えました。
The renewed power, however, gives Abe the opportunity to push ahead with his economic reforms. Abe could also turn his attention to the long-standing agenda of revising the pacifist constitution. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All the other international news and updates in Global Buzz. Hong Kong police have arrested several people as they cleared the last remaining pro-democracy protest site. For more than 2 months, activists have staged sit-ins in the centre of the shopping district of Causeway Bay along with 2 other areas. The biggest protest site in the Admiralty area was dismantled by the police last week. Former US Vice President Dick Cheney has defended controversial interrogation tactics used by the CIA against terror suspects. Cheney claimed rectal feeding of the terror suspects was done for medical reasons and said he was unrepentant about the so-called enhanced interrogation techniques that were deployed under his watch. Cheney's comments come amid criticism that the CIA techniques were ineffective and deeply flawed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a Palestinian bid to set a UN deadline to end Israel's occupation of land in the disputed territory. Palestine had said it intends to submit a draft resolution to the UN Security Council, seeking a 2-year deadline for Israel to end its occupation. The draft resolution invited staunch criticism for the US, Israel's closest ally. And all the sports news now in Sports Beat. Resuming hearing on the Mudgal Committee report, the Supreme Court has slammed IPL COO Sundar Raman for not registering a complaint against guilty players and officials, saying Raman was only interested in serving VIPs. The Mudgal Committee says that Raman had contacted a bookie 8 times in one season. Sachin Tendulkar added another feather to his cap when he was honoured by the Guinness Book of World Records to commemorate the completion of its 60 years. The organisation honoured about 60 athletes with a certificate and a medal of its 60th anniversary, which is also their recognition of their achievements of the sports personalities. Steve Smith will replace injured Michael Clarke to captain the Australian side for the remaining 4 tests of the ongoing series against India. Clarke tore his hamstring on Saturday while fielding on the final day of the first test between India and Australia at Adelaide. With Clarke's future in the game uncertain, Cricket Australia opted for Smith rather than selecting veteran wicketkeeper Brad Haddin as a stopgap skipper. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.